This may be a contender for one of the most batshit insane books I've ever read in a very, very long time. Let's talk about it. Hey y'all, it's me, Alex from The Longest Cosplays, bringing you another video, and we're talking about Superboy Volume 1, Issue 124. I saw this at my local comic book shop like last month, and I just knew I had to get it and talk about it. This came out in August 1965. And there's 3 stories in there. I'm condensing the first story, but I'm going to talk in depth about the second story, and I'm not going to talk about the third story at all. The first story is just crazy to me. The second story, which is what's on the cover, is fucking hilarious. And the third story, unfortunately, just isn't as interesting. It's still pretty okay, but it's not as interesting. So, let's dive into this book, shall we? So the first story is called The Insect Queen of Smallville. And the first page, you see, a spider girl, not the same one you're thinking of, different spider girl. Is actually the Insect Queen. You wanna know how she becomes the Insect Queen? Let me fucking tell you, because this is a crazy story. So, Lana's riding home on her bike. So, then she remembers that, oh, I gotta get flowers for Mom, a nice bouquet. And she stumbles upon this creature from another world. And she saves it, she rescues it. And as a token of gratitude, it invites her back to his ship, which, sure, yeah, I guess that's the safest thing one can do. She follows it, it hands her a ring, you don't even see that interaction, hands her a ring and then fucks off to space. And she gets home, and it's nighttime, and she walks downstairs because there's commotion going on, and she's like, I wish I could see what's going on. So she gains the light of a firefly, scares this burglar, I assume, away, decides to go back up to her room and see if she can change into this firefly thing again. She can't. The next day, her and Clark are playing badminton, and the a gust of wind, sends the bird up to the roof, and they're like, ah, damn. And Superboy's like, oh, I should get it down, but I don't want to reveal my identity. And she's like, Clark wants to get it down, but he's gonna waste a bunch of time doing it. I want to do it myself. So she changes into a grasshopper, which is fucking terrifying, if you ask me. And she gets it down. And she doesn't alert anyone by this, right? And Clark's like, how'd you do that so fast? And she's like, oh no, a gust of wind blew it down. Sure, okay. The next day, she's at school and she somehow remembers right then and there, oh shit, I forgot my homework. So she grows antennae that somehow no one notices. Even though she's in the back of the classroom, no one notices. Like, I would think, whatever. But she calls her mom. She calls her mom, right? And she's like, don't worry about how I'm doing this, just, I forgot my homework. Her mom, without any question, is like, oh, okay, I'll go get it for you from your room. And so, through that signal, which you can also read the minds, by the way, within that signal, she copies the answers from one sheet to another, turns in it, I guess. But she's forced to stay back because she misspelled the word ecstasy, and she has to write it 100 times on the board. Which I didn't go to school in the 60s, but Jesus fucking Christ, that is brutal. And she decides, no, not gonna do it the hard way. I'm gonna take the easy way out of this. I am gonna turn into a fucking centipede and write it down 100 times. Sure, she only uses like 6 legs or 6 of the arms or something. From what I gathered. But it's crazy. It's crazy. And her teacher's like, not even Superboy could have done it this fast. And she's like, it's a great fucking idea. I'll be just like Superboy. So she makes a costume which oddly resembles the Ben Cooper Spider-Man costume from the 50s. And assuming that this is like a normal spandex material, this is like the greatest, like most groundbreaking spandex I've ever seen, because it conforms to every transformation that she has. So that's cool. So she gains the flight of a dragonfly, flies off, and she discovers trouble immediately when she stumbles upon these crooks, trying to steal $1 million, and the truck broke down, and she's like, I know exactly how to solve this problem. She turns into an ant and carries the entire fucking truck to the bank, somehow without anyone noticing. And Superboy gets to the bank, and he's like, how'd you get here so fast? How'd you get here so fast? So she's like, she doesn't really say much, she just kind of fucks off onto the next journey. And she arrives to a warehouse where a bunch of criminals are, just for some reason. And naturally, they start shooting at her, but before anything hits her, by the grace of God, she's able to change into a beetle that fucking fast. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. She changes fast. She changes into that beetle faster than I can ask my friends to hop on Marvel Rivals, and that is saying something. But the criminal's response to this is to push her down with a bunch of heavy things of wool, which, okay, sure. She changes into a moth larva to eat through the wool, which I don't know if you gain the same taste buds and digestive system as a moth, but I can't imagine that's gonna be like sitting real nice with her later on. Either way, she escapes and she turns into a spider. So she catches these crooks in a net and then flies off again because Superboy arrives and he's like, oh, maybe I should use my X-ray vision to see who she is. No, that wouldn't be kind of me. So again, another short-lived interaction. Back at home, Clark's talking to Lana about the Insect Queen because, yeah, anyone would be baffled by her existence. And then they hear on the radio, the Leaning Tower of Pizza restaurant is, like, it's falling, it's in danger, right? And so, the Insect Queen is like, Lana reveals herself, by the way, like, as the Insect Queen. And she's like, if you're Superboy, you will fly out of this cocoon and I will know who you are. And so, without any hesitation, Clark does fly off in that cocoon. And she's like, got him, but don't worry. She'll be regretting saying that. So Clark gets to the Superboy, sorry, gets to the restaurant, saves it. You know, it doesn't even take 5 seconds, right? And then he's like, I gotta do something about this cocoon before she figures out that I actually am Superboy. So he flies back in, he lands on the ground, she walks up, he gets out of the cocoon as Clark, and he has butterfly wings. And his thing is like, you know, if you know, larvae can turn into butterflies or whatever, why can't I? And so Lana's like, I guess you're not Superboy. They're standing there and she's like looking off and do whatever. And he's like using his heat vision to get rid of these butterfly wings, which is like, I guess that's the most probable thing you can do, like most feasible thing you can do, but how does she not hear that? Like, those are the most silent heat vision beams I've ever like seen. But either way, that's the end of the first story. Again, pretty fucking wild, and I used a lot of cliff notes because so much happens. But I want to talk about the second story, which is what the cover is based on. So let's get into that. So this next story is called Superbaby's First Fight. And right from the get-go, we see Superbaby punching the shit out of a boxer. Like, in the jaw, like uppercutting into the jaw, right? People in the audience are like, holy shit, that's John Kent's son who just punched this guy in the fucking jaw. And they can't even deny it, right? It's an amazing opener. But on an undefined morning before this, you know, they're preparing for a livestock show, which I actually had to Google because I didn't know that was a thing. And if I did, I just didn't know the terminology, but that's cool that they do that for cows and whatnot. But either way, Superbaby has to gather up some steer for the show, you know, because, you know, John Kent's taking this very seriously, right? And, you know, they get to the trailer, and John's like, this thing looks worn out, Clark. Because Superbaby's a dumb fucking idiot, and it took the long way to get to this trailer. Pa Kent urges that, like, you know, no one can find out that you're Superbaby. No one can find out you have powers. And Clark's like, I'll be good, I promise. Which is, you know, famous last words, right? So they arrive at an underpass where for some reason there's no one there to like let them in. They have to honk the horn to get let in. So the horn doesn't work. It's a horn that's like attached to the side of the car, which I didn't live through these times, but I think I might have been how it worked back then. I don't know. But Superbaby's like, I'll fix it. Superbaby's like, I'll help out, right? And he squeezes that fucking horn like there's no tomorrow, and a bird's nest flies out of it. I hope those birds are okay. Like, he used like full force, like they like launched out, and we never see those birds again. So I'm assuming they're fucking dead. I hope not, but I'm assuming they are. You know, we fast forward to the fair, right? And Ma Kent's like, you know what? We're gonna have some fun. Here's a couple of pennies. Go play. And she just, you know, leaves him alone. And, you know, I'm not a parent. Not yet, at least. Not that I know of. But, if I had a child with superpowers, I don't think I would leave him alone in a public space just like that. Like, even if the times are different, I still probably wouldn't do that, right? Yeah, grade A parenting. So, of course, Clark immediately gets into some shenanigans, right? He's on a seesaw, right? And he launches these kids off the fucking seesaw. And I mean, like, they're going, like, airborne. They're sky high at this point. And thankfully, the Kents show up and are like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? Like, these poor kids, are they gonna be okay? This baby is, like, the smartest fucking baby I've ever seen. Probably smarter than Sheldon Cooper was as a baby, like, because the trajectory of the kids somehow makes it so that they land perfectly in a pile of hay. I'm assuming if it was, like, 2 inches away, it would have, like, they would have been dead. Like, that would have been a disaster. In the midst of all this, Professor Potter's, you know, hanging around. He's like, ooh, I have these apples that have a super serum in it. Ooh, let's see what shenanigans we can get into. And he plants these 2 apples at a nearby apple stand. And by some fucking coincidence, Clark uses, you know, a couple of his pennies to buy one of the exact apples that was planted. And he eats it, and he's like, you know, what the fuck's gonna happen? This kid already has powers, right? So, apparently he loses his fucking powers, because, yeah, that makes sense, I guess, sure. No, it's not because of the apples. Some, like, little girl is, like, standing next to him, right, and she's holding a teddy bear, that for some reason, and it's not explained at all, but this thing has kryptonite eyes. And this was before, like, the Kents knew what kryptonite was. They step away, and immediately Clark starts feeling, like, a little bit better, which, yeah, that makes sense, right? And Pa Kent's like, you know what? Best course of action, let's buy tickets to a fight. Sure, I guess that's the most entertaining thing for a baby to see. So Ma Kent puts Clark down to see if he can stand on his own. Sure enough, he's still dizzy. But again, during all this, Professor Potter has another thing going on. He's got some sleeping gas, right? And he decides, let's let a little bit of it out. Let's see if we can screw some people over. It hits Superbaby. Oh, and only Superbaby. It's the only thing it works on. And the baby passes out from it, right? Naturally. And people around him are, like, mocking him and shit. They're like, haha, you know, your sleeping gas only works for babies and things with low intelligence. And that's fucking brutal, man. Like, Jesus, they did not hold back in the 60s. Like, oh my god. So this major fuck-up causes Professor Potter to lose the invention prize, right? And he's like, ah, god damn it, you know, I fucked up, this shit sucks, right? And he hands the rest of the sleeping gas to the Kents, in case it's ever needed, because it put that baby to sleep so fucking fast, right? Yeah, this thing was so bad it ended up on the paper that day. Or I guess the next day. It ended up on the front page of the paper. Which is just so humiliating. Like, that's so humiliating. Like, and he's pissed off about this, right? Don't worry, we don't even have time to see what he does about this, because we gotta see a fight, right? So, Superbaby now wants boxing gloves, just like the 2 guys in the ring. So, he gets boxing gloves, and you know they're gonna sit down and they're gonna enjoy this fight like a normal family. No, I spoke way too soon when I thought that, because Superbaby immediately decides that he has to punish one of the boxers just for simply performing his gig, right? They're fighting and one of them gets hurt. Superbaby decides to launch this poor fucking man sky high. Again, clocked in the jaw, which we'll get into that because they mention this. And it's one of the great, like, he flies in from the audience and he's like, bam, sucker punch it into the sky, and everyone's like going crazy, like, oh my god, John Kent, that's your son, he just did that, holy shit. It's the greatest fucking page I've ever read in my life. I can't make this up. I am being dead serious. Dead fucking serious. Right? And, everyone's freaking out, right? Clark, being a dumb fucking baby, he squeezes the rest of that sleeping gas. He somehow gets a hold of it and squeezes the rest of it out. And everyone in the audience, including his parents, succumb to, 5 seconds of slumber because they immediately wake back up, like, as if nothing happened, right? Everyone's confused, naturally. And they decide, you know what, let's just not worry about it. Let's not worry about it. Let's just declare a winner, shall we? So the ref declares a winner, like nothing happened, because that makes sense. Pa Kent realizes that everyone in this fucking area is too stupid and won't even attempt to remember what happened. And that makes Superbaby's identity a secret once again. No one knows how Superbaby was able to punch a guy and that guy lived. No one knows how he lived. What a miracle. I think we should be talking more about that, right? The story ends on the final page, right? And there's another apple, because Clark only bought one. There's another apple. Pa Kent, I don't know why he does this, but he decides to, like, sneak another one, like, into his jacket. And by some fucking coincidence, once again, it's the other apple that Professor Potter had, like, injected with this serum. And, yeah, we don't know what the fuck happened with that. He never eats it. If he ate it in a later issue, let me know, but as of this book, he did not eat it. And it's like, okay, wow, for one, you're stealing a source of food, right? Like, that's terrible. Second of all, you're not even gonna eat it? You ungrateful bastard. And so Professor Potter's still pissed off that both of these inventions failed, and that's it. He doesn't do anything. He just, like, crosses a thing off a board that he has. That's the fucking story. Like I said, there's a third one, but it's not nearly as interesting as the first two. Clark becomes like he becomes like a asshole and a gambler to protect his identity as Superboy, which, sure, yeah. If you're gonna go out of your way to make it seem impossible that you're Superboy, you might as well do some gambling. Put it all on red, I guess, right? Like, genuinely one of the greatest, like, Silver Age stories I've ever read. And I've read quite a lot by this point now. Mostly Green Lantern and some Superman ones, but this right here, Superboy Volume 1, Issue 124. This thing is so fucking funny. If you find this, I implore you to pick it up and read it. And if you can't find it, then read it online. Like, just whatever way you can, read this. It is so goddamn funny and so fucking crazy to me. That it has to be seen to be believed. And that'll do it for this one. I tried to keep this as short as possible for how much goes on. I took, like 7 pages of notes, I think, right? Like, yeah, 7 pages of notes. Just on the first 2 stories alone. You know, a lot of effort went into this one. But thank you for watching, seriously. Probably by the time this goes up, I will have an interview with Mr. McGroovy up. On his channel. Please go subscribe to him. He is not only just one of the kindest human beings, but Jesus Christ, he is one of the funniest chums I've ever met in my life. And it was a really fun thing. I did it the morning, like this morning, as I'm recording this, and it was so fun. Go subscribe to Mr. McGroovy. Be on the lookout for my interview with him on People with Issues. And until next time, I will talk to you guys later. Bye bye now.